was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
Barf!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. Barf!
Barf?
And here we go. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brian the Commish. Joining with me again tonight after his hiatus, Walt is in the studio. Walt, good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here, Brian.
And also joining us in studio, but not inside the studio. We are outside tonight at the BARFF HQ patio. The owner of Hung Like a Horse, Tommy's here tonight. Tommy, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well, We're going to talk about Week 5 action. It was a week of a lot of controversy and heartache. And, Walt, let's talk about a great winning streak coming to an end.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, I had a bad feeling. First of all, let me address the reason for why I was gone. It was vacation, not because of some emails I wrote 7 years ago. So there was no suspension, nothing like that. But, yeah, going back to that, I didn't have a great feeling going into the week just because of my matchups. I thought that Christian's matchups were really, really good. And then, of course, when you get Michael Pittman and I guess anything with Pitt or Pitts in it, you're going to do double digits. Like, they were ridiculous, 20 and 27 points. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then Damian Harris gets hurt, he fumbled. And so, of course, we know how Bill Belichick likes that.
Right.
But the best part, or the coup de grace, was I was so proud of myself. I had to go get my truck from Kyle on Sunday. Him and Ant, who didn't look the best, I'm assuming it was maybe a bit of a hangover. But I was so proud at last minute, I made a switch to Deontay Johnson over Mike Williams, and he had just scored that 50-yard TD. And I was touting how brilliant I was. And then, of course, Mike Williams gets 38 points. So I guess I'm not as brilliant as I thought I was.
Yeah, well, what exactly was behind Keith? Because Mike Williams has been hot. He has been one of the scorching players in fantasy football, and it was really curious to me that you kept him on the bench. The reasoning for that?
I'm going to say drying out from being away a week at Illinois that's the only reason I have. No, I actually thought at Cleveland that maybe, they were going to focus on Williams, try to take him out,
sure.
And Deontay, I figured, that's a great matchup. But, that was just stupidity.
Yeah, it's hard with any of the Pittsburgh receivers right now with Ben Roethlisberger. They're sticking with him. Clearly, Big Ben is going to finish out his career in Pittsburgh, gunning. But I don't know if that arm just has it anymore. It's week to week, it's a little sketchy.
Yeah, no, he looks broken down in my mind. He's just, like you said, he's definitely retiring as a Steeler because nobody's going to want him if he leaves there. That's it for him.
Tommy, I'm gonna ask you about no lineup needed. They are the Dragon Slayers this week. They take the 4-game winning streak and they bring it to an end, and they do it behind another great week from Austin Eckler. The Rifle and I talked about this last week. Austin Eckler as a first-round draft pick. I liked it, but some people had questions. What do you think now, especially in light of this recent production?
Yeah, I mean, going to the draft, I was kind of questioning Eckler going in the first round, but I know last year he was out a bunch, but I guess, in the end, I guess Christian made a pretty good pick. I wasn't even thinking of taking him where he took him, but I mean, when you get 52 points from your two running backs, it's tough to go up against.
I haven't gotten 52 points from my running backs yet
Well,
this season to date. So yeah. And Kyle Pitts, Walt, is this what we're going to see from Kyle Pitts moving forward?
I don't think so. I think he's going to be solid. I think double digits some weeks, but I just don't see 27 points out of him like that. No, not yet.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, I will say that Kyle Pitts looks like what we thought Evan Engram was going to be.
Yeah, and, for sure.
Yeah, I wish them the best because, it's been a rough road with with Evan Engram. But and even going down bench, I mean, Christian made the right decisions this week. He keeps Tanny on the bench, and he gets equal production from Kirk Cousins. That decision doesn't hurt him. The players that he needed to be in, you are not starting Rondale Moore over Stephon Diggs. And so, it all works out for him this week. And he comes up with what we thought was likely the most improbable win of the week.
Yeah, it was good just because it was over and I didn't have to suffer the heartbreak that some fellow owners did on Sunday and Monday. So I was happy for that.
It was a tough week for everybody, I think.
Yeah, except me. It was easy.
But at least you got beat by
Exactly.
40-something points. It wasn't close.
Nope.
Yeah, I mentioned this on the pod last week. Last week at 4:01 p.m., my win probability was 1%. It was hard to watch. Tommy, let's look at your game. You take on another streaking team, Sody Pantloads, and you put up the good fight. I know this pain. 121 is enough to win games in fantasy football, but Sody Pantloads comes over the top with a win, 157 to 121. Tell me about your game this week.
Yeah, I mean, when you get 42 points from your quarterback, I mean, there's not much more you can get out of that. And then Lamar Jackson obviously comes out Monday night and throws, 4 touchdowns or something?
Yeah.
I mean, once he does that, and then when you get a combined, 22 points from your wide receivers to his 40, 50 something, I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think I got a little wide receiver problem right now. So we're going to see where that takes us. And then Hawkinson, who knows? I mean, going into the draft, I took him pretty high because everyone was just like, if he can slip like 4th, 5th, he's going to get a ton of targets.
Yeah.
But I think their offense is so bad right now. He just gets double covered every single time. So we'll see going forward. I mean, might have to be like a couple trades, maybe try to get a good wide receiver, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know that feeling about needing trades. Hawkinson started the season hot. He did what he needed to do early on, and that whole team is just starting to realize that they are, in fact, the Detroit Lions, and so there may be a little less effort than earlier. But Adam Thielen, for me, is the concern for your team because I would have seen, Adam Thielen is a top 3 third-round draft pick, second-round draft pick, and he comes up with 6 points, and he has not been producing. Or is that a concern for you, Tom?
I mean, he started off, I think the first 2 weeks he was pretty decent, but I think this week and last week, 2 receptions. I don't think he had too many targets. It seemed like the ball was being spread a little more. Obviously, Jefferson had good amount of shares, but I'm not going to lie, it's a little concerning going forward, but we'll see what this week brings us. I mean, want to get back up to 3-3, but 2-4, it's not the end of the road, but.
Yeah, see, and you still have, Walt, is this still not the pickup of the waiver wire of the season, Alexander Madison, putting up 27 points this week, and Dalvin Cook will return to health, full health at some point, but he's always up and down. You've had him before, I've had him before, and this pick works out perfectly. Again, there's no shame in scoring 121 points in a week.
Not at all.
That's a great pickup.
Yeah, Madison's good pickup. But then, you balanced it out by putting Ruggs in his starting lineup.
Yeah.
So, you had to put a little bad with some of that good.
Yeah.
But again, I was looking, your hands were tied. You didn't have a lot of really good choices to choose from. And then, of course, DeAndre Swift, give me a break. He's been in the 20s, the last 3 weeks or so?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that the production Kyle's getting out of him. But, Kyle somehow always seems to find some guy in a scrap heap who ends up doing well.
So the talk coming out of the draft was Huey Lewis in the news and their running backs. They went hard running backs. And we talked a couple weeks ago about which of those teams between Huey Lewis and the news and the Soats were going to have that best combination. I got to say, as of this point in the season, the Kamara Harrison-Swift combination has been the best in the league. There's no doubt.
I mean, how could you believe that after the draft? I mean, DeAndre Swift, the 7th-ranked running back at his position.
Yeah, and also likely to go to prison, but still on the field and putting points up. Najee Harris, I thought Najee Harris had potential, but to be this level of player, especially this early in the season, wow, what a great pickup. He's smart enough to keep Jalen Hurts on the bench this week. And, yeah, Tom mentioned it earlier. Tom Brady goes for 42 points. And so you're sitting pretty. You got quarterback wrapped up. But, nah, the Soats come along and put up 46 from the queue. That's brutal. That is brutal.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson actually looked like he could pass the ball proficiently. I mean, he looked good in the pocket. He really did. First time.
Yep.
So I give the guy credit. He's definitely worked on his craft, I guess.
Definitely a statement game for him. He definitely wanted to show he could do it with his arm, and he most certainly did.
Sure did.
They didn't have anything going in the first half either.
Oh, exactly.
Going into the second half, he puts up pretty much all those points in a half. I mean.
Yep. And that's not unusual for this Baltimore team. That's got to be an interesting locker room at halftime because they often kind of lay an egg in the first, and then they come out and I don't know what that running back situation is, but they've got Lamar Jackson, and that seems to be enough. I would be remiss without bringing up, as I said to the owner that I would, a text from earlier where the Soats seem to believe that Hung Like a Horse is a fraud. I'm going to bring that up. I said that I would. Tom, your response?
I don't know why. I know why Tony calls me a fraud. I think he's still mad when I almost beat his brains in the streets of Boston at 2 a.m. on the way to go get cannolis. And then, I felt so bad. I bought 2 cannolis and had to give them to one to him. But I don't know why Kyle always calls me a fraud. But Tony, I understand. But Tony's a fraud. So
Yeah.
he's a fraud.
And I ask for an explanation, and I get an explanation. Let's keep the beans on the radar and talk about a game that I would prefer to not talk about ever, but let's just get it out of the way. Boston Beans comes on Monday night, rises up and puts up a ridiculous performance, overtaking the Knuckleheads with a 163-139 win on Monday night. On Monday night, the heartbreak, I can't even describe it. I thought I had this one pretty much in the bag, and that was not the case. Walt, did you think that I was going to win this game on Monday night?
I mean, Russell Wilson gets hurt. He gets 10 points out of Russell Wilson. I'm like, wow, he's looking great. Aaron Jones, average. Chubb looked good, but I'm like, no, you're in great shape. Kyler Murray, I was thinking was going to be in the 30-point, and he only did 15, which was like
sad points.
Yeah, and I was watching that game, and he actually looked like something was bothering him. He floated up a couple of balls, so that didn't help. But yeah, and I guess the real insult, Mark Andrews with 42 points.
42 points.
That was crazy.
It was almost
Crazy.
painful watching how he
I want
was
the
just
league. I'm going
piling
to
it on.
emphasize this. Where's the camera? 42 points on
42.
Monday night for Mark Andrews.
Yep.
I used to work when I was at Stop and Shop. I worked with a nice young man in the late 80s named Mark Andrews. Nice kid. I loved him to death. If I saw him right now, I'd punch him in the face as hard as I could.
Understandably.
I cannot handle. This is the second Monday night loss. Second? Third? I don't know. It always seems to fall apart. I thought I had this one.
I thought it was in the bag, but now you show me there's nothing guaranteed with you, no matter how big your lead is.
It's raining points. I can't.
Yeah.
Tom, I can't. Last week, the Rifle come out of their shell and throw 171 on me. This week, I put up 139. 139 should be enough to win, damn it.
It's a good day. It's a
It
good
is.
day.
But it's a continuation from last year, which is even scarier.
It makes my heart hurt. I'm not going to lie.
Seems like you're being punished from a previous life or something like that.
I'm not going to lie.
something.
I'm filming a short about the fantasy football gods, but we'll see that maybe in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But it's hard right
it's
now.
It's really hard.
The Rifle, whatever penance they had to pay, and we'll talk about them in a minute. They've paid it. They're out. But I can't. 42 points on Monday night from Mark Andrews beats me. I have nothing for it. I can't. There may be a fire sale coming from the knucklehead soon. I don't know. And I'm still, I'm working the wire a little bit, but
Yeah, it's getting rough there, though, too.
Slim
pickings. Yeah.
I'm relatively sure I saw the three of us at the running back position when I was looking for a running back this week. Tommy's rated pretty high compared to us, but we're on there. You could pick us up because that's what you have left at running back. I will say this to the league, I still believe in my strategy about going wide receiver heavy. We'll see. I may re-pick up Sony Michel, though.
Now you're really tempted. Yeah, fate.
I think he had a touchdown this week, right? He had a rushing
Yeah,
touchdown.
I think Sony had 10 points, which it wouldn't have helped me. I don't know. I got to get Elijah Mitchell gives me 7 points. I don't know what's happening in San Francisco. It was the scary run-heavy team, and now that's just a disaster.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe you should pick up Nyheim Hines, too, to really
please, I don't
round
think-
out your
please.
roster.
If I pick up Sony Michel and Nyheim Hines, I'm also just going to trade away DK Metcalf and Kyler Murray for nothing. So that will be the descent. Yeah, that's not good. But we talked about hard luck, and I'm taking it on the chin yet again. A team that 2 weeks ago we were talking about was in a must-win situation so that they didn't go to 0-4. We saw 0-4 as the death knell through 4 games. It's just not enough time to recover, and that's the Springfield Rifle. They respond with a 171.99 margin of victory beatdown over me, and then they come out this week and they beat worst team ever 167-140. 2 amazing performances. Walt, tell me about this game.
Well, it's even more surprising because Barkley goes out and gets him a goose egg. So he did that without a running back, which is like ridiculous. I mean, again, that Baltimore game was very upsetting to a lot of people because he had Marquise Brown, who just went off. And I must say, Marquise Brown has looked like a legitimate, I'll call him at least a number 2 receiver. He looks really good. He's in the game plan. Nice pickup on Knox as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, the Rifle is a little revival here.
Yeah.
They put a little more ammo in the backpack. He's ready now, I think, for the middle of the season.
I think that Dawson Knox pick is gonna really pay dividends. I will say, we'll talk about the Soaring Eagles in a few minutes, but they picked him up because of Kittle. But Kittle had a game time decision at, I think it was 4, and I could be screwing this up. But anyway, they had Knox at 1, and they had to drop him while they waited for the game time decision, and they picked up another tight end waiting for that 4 o'clock time. And so Dawson Knox goes back into the pool. The Springfield Rifle pick him up and get 22 points at a slaughter this week. It's that pick we're going to have to take a look at over the next few weeks. That
I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, he's looking great.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the expense of Cole Beasley, who's on my roster.
And Tyler picked up Schultz. I thought that was a really nice pickup. He was solid, 13.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, Tyler had, pretty solid day, like you said. 140 points, and you're not even, close to winning the game. What are you going to do? That's the way it works out sometimes.
That is difficult. Derrick Henry does what Derrick Henry's supposed to do. Dak does what he's supposed to do. But you can't. It's. I feel his pain. Someone puts 167 on you. Sorry, there's not a whole lot you can do.
The one thing I'll say too with Tyler is Jamar Chase again.
Mm-hmm.
The guy in preseason they were saying couldn't catch a ball, and now is like he's one of these guys. I don't know where he's rated. Let's see what's got him. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't see it because I'm on the phone. But where he's got to be in the 7. He's ranked 7th. I was going to say he's got to be top 10. Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I'm always scared to take rookies.
Yeah,
I'm always scared
for
to take
sure.
Rookies. I mean, this is probably one of the best rookies right now. I mean, jeez.
No question.
Absolutely. So we'll see. Tommy, the Springfield Rifles started 0-3. We were concerned about them going 0-4, and now they're sitting at 2-3. Do you want to see the Springfield Rifle come into town?
I mean, not really. I think how long is Barkley going to be out for? A couple weeks, I think.
I think at least a couple
weeks. I mean, that's a little bit of a loss. I mean, it seemed like he was starting to get a little something going, but I mean, I think he's got depth on his team. Again, Robert Woods, 28 points on the bench. Hunter Henry, who knows if Pat's offense is so up and down. Who knows if he'll keep that going? But I was scared. I wanted to take Marquise Brown this year, but I think I had him last year in the league, and he was just terrible. Terrible. Just a waste of a pick. But this year he's put up huge numbers. Yeah. So I think he's in good shape.
I agree. Woods and Lockett on the bench. I mean, Woods looked like what everybody was saying he was going to be at the beginning of the draft. So watch out for the Rifle.
Yeah, he's making the right.
Got good receivers.
Making the right moves. Yeah, he's looking good the last 2 weeks. Wow.
Yep, definitely.
So jealous. And then we head into teams that we had mentioned in previous discussions. Huey Lewis in the news with another Monday night game. They come back and they beat the Soaring Eagles 165-152. Huey Lewis moves to 4-1 while the Soaring Eagles fall to 1-4. Walt, Soaring Eagles are now occupying the 10th spot on a hard luck loss. Tell me about this game.
Well, I need a clarification. So are you telling me he picked up Zach Ertz to fill in? Is that what you're telling me?
He did pick up Zach Ertz. And I think, I have looked at the tight end position. I was just trying to shore myself up for the bye. I ended up with Tyler Conklin because there's not a lot out there. Right now, if you're looking for a tight end, you better hope that there's a rookie waiting to emerge. And so he grabs Ertz, and Ertz is hot and cold. If Dallas Goedert got hurt, maybe he'd have something there. But he had Dawson Knox, and Kittle's injury really screwed him out of Dawson Knox. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it must have got him off his game. It's really hard to be overly critical. 152 points. Again, a really solid week. I mean, all the way up and down the roster. I mean, he had a good production from everybody except Ertz. So,
Yep.
It's tough. But Jordan now, I don't know if you passed the bad luck down through birth or
Might have been.
there's something going on at
I don't know. He is
adult
sick,
household
Something
right
in the
now.
blood.
Yeah.
Something in the blood.
He's
We got to
snake
test
bit.
the water or something.
It's not good. It is not good. And again, if you score the number of points that he scored this week and you lose,
Mm-hmm.
what? There's just anger. There's just anger. He gets 30. Devontae Adams plays like Devontae Adams. Josh Allen plays like you expect him to play. He finally gets a game from DeAndre Hopkins, who has been,
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yep.
we can all agree, a disappointment. And then you go over to the other side, and there's maybe a surprise from Antonio Brown, but it's just solid top to bottom, and beats him. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Zeke looks like he's starting to get the carries that, I wasn't sure he was going to get. But
Yep.
to your point, you got Taylor and Zeke. Let's see towards the end of the season with that extra game. Let's see what happens with those guys.
Yeah, I think that they're going to feed Zeke. I think I said this last week with the rifle. I think they're going to feed Zeke until he breaks down because they have Pollard and they don't care.
Yep.
They can afford to lose him for 3-4 weeks, and then they'll just feed Pollard for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah,
and
that's a
they'll
good
get back.
point.
That's a great position for them to be in. Even going down the benches, like the right decisions are made with one exception. Tommy, I have said this about Huey Lewis in the News going back to last year. Every single week they make the right quarterback decision. This week, no. And it could have cost them because it's a huge swing. 47 points for Justin Herbert compared to 21 points for Matthew Stafford. Who do you start if you have these two, Tommy? Who do you start week to week? Stafford, or do you start Herbert?
I mean, I think that's a tough call. I mean, they've both been real hot right now. I mean, probably be going to Stafford, honestly. I mean, obviously Herbert put up 47 points this week, but I feel like their Stafford's offense is a lot more flowy. But
Yeah, the rifle said last week if you have two quarterbacks, you have none because you don't know who to start. And there is a perfect illustration right here.
So, Tommy, I think this is why you're 2-3 or whatever you are. You got to start Herbert. Herbert is a must start.
I don't know.
All the time. No, I'm telling you, he is that guy is playing at a level. He reminds me of Josh Allen of last year of the level he's playing at. I think.
Yep.
I think for me, I would never take him out.
I don't know if I bought into him yet.
No, not
I don't
yet.
know if I bought into him yet.
He's certainly getting some early MVP discussion, which is pretty impressive. And as we come out of Week 5 action, let's take a look at the standings. The standings right now, based on that devastating loss for Born to Run. Born to Run slides by basis of points scored into the second spot. Sody Pantload sits at the top at 4-1. Born to Run and Huey Lewis also at 4-1. No lineup needed. The sole 3-2 team. Worst team ever, Boston Beans, Springfield Rifle, and you, Tommy Hung Like a Horse at 2-3. And then down the bottom, we've got the Knuckleheads and the Soaring Eagles at 1-4. Doesn't look very good down there. Better than 0-5.
I think it's gut check time though.
Oh, it's gut check
At the 1-4,
It's
yeah.
gut check time. Like, I'm being very composed right now. But
But we have the extra week. To me, that helps just a tad.
it does. One game can
Yeah,
make
absolutely.
a huge amount of difference.
Yep, and if you look at it, you're one game out of the last playoff spot with the 2-3 team. So
Yeah.
All you got to do is make playoffs.
that's
Yeah,
it.
it is.
Anyone
That's
can
the
get
goal.
hot, just make playoffs.
That's the goal. I always worry. We were talking about the rifle a couple weeks ago, and the big worry is that once you get to that 6th or 7th loss, that is usually what puts you out in BARFF. We have an extra week this year, so that may be a little bit different. But we've always got those teams jammed up in the middle, and that difference for that one loss, 6 or 7 losses, is always the difference year after year. And if you have 9 games left and you already have 4 losses, got to go on a run.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been on a run. I just can't win a goddamn game. That's. We'll talk about that more next week. If I lose, it'll be a little less composed. So, yep, those are the standings, and there's the whistle, and the whistle means that it's time for 3 and Out with Walt.
You're so mad.
Oh, throw the flag! He's all over him!
All right. You did explain the fraud. still not sure why Kyle is calling you a fraud as well, but maybe that's for your next time in. We'll take a little deeper dive there. So, looking at your team right now, I want you to do kind of, a autopsy on it and saying, looking at it, what do you like about it, where you feel good, and then, what you really don't like. And, I know it's probably pretty evident with the receivers, you're probably going to go there, but what do you like the most about your team right now?
Obviously, Brady's been huge. I mean,
yeah.
God, he's got 15 touchdowns through 5 games. Didn't throw any against the Pats. So, I mean, he's averaging like 4 touchdowns a game. Dalvin Cook, at this point, I'd rather just see Madison out there. Honestly. I mean, he puts up almost 30 points every time he's in there. Gibson's been solid, but again, the wide receivers, I mean, Brown, Thielen, Ruggs. I just don't have that true number 1 guy. Don't have that true number 2 guy. I mean, definitely the wide receivers are really lacking right now. Yeah,
and I got to give you credit because I pretty much crapped on you for the Brady pick. I'm like, there's no – and it's not because of Brady. He's never really been that relevant fantasy-wise, middle of the road. But, I mean, in this offense and everything, he's putting up great numbers. Yeah, yep. So I give you credit.
I mean, Brown – he's been a huge bust this year. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, Tennessee's offense is kind of just up and down right now, and he's hurt. It seems like he's got a lingering injury, but I mean, he's been a big disappointment. So
for sure. I mean, I had him last year, and that's the problem. He just can't stay on the field because when he does, I mean, he's a really, really good wide receiver, but he just can't stay on the field. Okay, so now all of a sudden I have a time machine, and I'm going to lend it to you, and I'm going to let you go back to the draft. What now would you change from the draft that we put you back after what you know now?
I mean, maybe rethink the Hawkinson pick.
Okay.
I mean, tight ends, Hawkinson probably would have still been there a couple rounds later, honestly. Probably would have taken another big name wide receiver. I was joking around with Kyle saying, I'm going to take Kamara, but looking back now, I was actually thinking about taking Derrick Henry.
Oh, yep.
But I thought if I took Henry, Dalvin Cook would have just gone off this year, but he's having a pretty mediocre year. He's been hurt, lingering injury. I mean, Madison at this point, just let him play. 27 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I can't fault you for Cook after the year last year, but not at all.
No.
So, with that time machine, would you still deliver that beat down to Tony? I think that's worth asking right. You wouldn't change that, right?
Yeah.
No, okay.
I don't even know how we started fighting that night. It was just left the box.
Okay.
We were, next thing you know, we're just messing around, and I got on top of him, and if it was a real fight, I would have beat him down. Next thing you know, we're walking to get cannolis, and bought 2 cannolis. Wasn't really feeling the second one. I felt so bad for him. I was like, here's the cannoli. He goes, you serious, Tom? Like, here you go.
Hey, cannolis mend fences. So.
Exactly.
All right.
He thinks he still won that, but no chance.
Okay, so staying on that theme, you're probably going to try to reach out to some owners to try to maybe do a deal for a receiver. So who's the owner you go to first? And not because they'll wheel and deal, but actually offer you something that is equitable and really not try to take advantage of you in your weakened state. What owner are you going out first?
Connor's been texting me a lot lately. Wants Hawkinson.
Wow. Yeah.
Wants Hawkinson bad. I'm probably not going to give him up yet. I don't know. Maybe Christian.
You trust Christian?
Christian might be the go-to guy.
Yep.
Jordan. Tony's probably might be the last.
Well, that's what I wanted. And Tony's your last.
Tony just tries to fleece everybody.
Outstanding.
Tries to fleece everybody. He's a fake Bruins fan too. So.
All right. So I'm doing the 3A, and this one is a little bit of a thinking. So I'm going to tell you and say, try to build the perfect owner. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you some categories. Some might be really good at drafting, and then others at free agent pickups, setting lineups, and then I'll call it overall fantasy IQ. So if you're building that perfect owner, what owner are you taking the drafting ability from?
I gotta say, Sody Pantloads.
Sody Pantloads. Okay.
The drafting, 100%. I guess
free agents.
Waiver wire. I feel like Davis has some good pickups.
Okay.
Some really good pickups, and then.
We got setting their starting lineups.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, Ty makes good.
Okay.
Puts up good lineups most of the time.
And then overall, like fantasy IQ, who you feel like is really working it, the waiver wire, the whole 9 yards.
I mean, I gotta say, Huey Lewis is
Huey
always.
Lewis.
I gotta say him.
Yep.
Probably always work. He's always working the waiver wire. Always trying to make trades. It's fantasy's my life, but that kid is just he's a whole nother level.
He might be on house arrest, so maybe that's why he's able to spend all that time. I'm not sure. And if you were not going to pick, if you look the other way and say, what owner you would say, I don't want no part of their draft strategy. Is this Tony across the board, or are we
across the board?
Yeah,
Tony across the board.
All right.
I'm interested to see who's he going to start this week.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, is it going to be Tua? Russell Wilson.
I mean, I hope he backs it up. Yeah, I agree.
I think Miami should have traded for Tua when they could have, but he's not going to like hearing that. It's okay, though.
All right, well, good job, Tommy.
Well done, Tommy. That was 3 and out with Walt. And now we're gonna look at next week, and let's jump in on the let's look at the Beans. The first game that we look at, the Beans are taking on worst team ever. They're sitting at 2-3. The Beans are a worst team ever, also 2-3. Right now, the projections are what the projections are. We don't even have full lineups, but the big question: does Tua start this week, Walt? And does he perform well?
He'll probably start. I'm not thinking he's going to perform well. I mean, he hasn't played in, how many weeks has it been now?
When you get hurt, week 1? Week 2?
It's three weeks, right?
3 weeks, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, my expectation for Tua is pretty low. I don't know what really, Tony has to go with. There's really nothing left to pick up or anything like that. So I'm thinking he's riding the Tua train, and hopefully he doesn't see him go out on a cart again.
I mean, I hope he does. Just so we can get Tex halfway through the game and just freak out.
My only issue with that, I mean, he might go out on a cart, but it might be with a hand injury. So I'm not sure if that's worst team ever. They've got Dak Prescott going off. Derrick Henry is starting to play what you expect from Derrick Henry. That's really someone you can count on week in and week out. So it'll be interesting to see 2-3. This is a pretty important game for both of these teams. You want to be that 3-3 team, not the 2-4 team. You might, if I have a little luck, you might have the same record as me at the end of the week.
Yeah, Ty, the big one to me is tonight. Godwin, who seems like the odd man out this year which is really odd. So if Ty gets a good game out of God, if it's Godwin's night and he can get him into say 20 points or something, then I think Ty will be in really good shape.
Yeah, last year we were talking about, why doesn't Mike Evans get more love from Brady, and now Godwin seems to have taken that spot.
Yeah, totally agree.
Antonio Brown sneaking in and grabbing up those targets. So, Tommy, you've got a big game this week. You've got Huey Lewis in the news at 4-1 coming in. You're trying to improve on your 2-3 record. How do you see this game going this week? Who do you want to see them start at quarterback?
Herbert. I want to see him start Herbert.
All right.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to come down to my wide receivers. I mean, if I have another, 5, 6, 7, 8 point days from all 3 of my wide receivers, and then Hawkinson, who knows, he's going to be a coin flip. I think Brady will probably have a decent night. Hopefully Dalvin Cook can get going. But I think it's going to be a close game.
Brady likes those bright lights, so he could be 10 points deep already.
Oh yeah, he's going to be padding those stats. I guarantee 100%. It, Brady.
That's the good thing about him. I think at this point, garbage points.
He wants to try to have every record possible and add on to it. So I agree. And I heard Cook was moving towards playing probable wise. So that's the only downside I see. I don't know if you're worried about that. Cook goes in. Gets dinged up.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think the scariest part of this game is Kupp against the Giants. I think he has the chance to put up
40 points.
40 points.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do too.
Pat's run defense is kind of bad.
Yeah, very questionable.
I think he could have a big day. I mean, I think Huey Lewis has a chance to put up a big number this week.
Yeah, he's got Taylor against Houston. Yeah. The matchups are pretty nice for Huey Lewis for sure.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, be nice to be 3-3, but 2-4. It's just got to make playoffs in fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Agreed. You're aiming for that 5th spot. Teams that are aiming for that 5th spot right now, Soaring Eagles at 1-4, trying to dig out of the basement, taking on the resurgent Springfield Rifle, coming in at 2-3, and coming off 171 and 167 performances. Walt, does the Springfield Rifle keep it rolling this week and pick up their 3rd straight win?
I feel bad for the Soaring Eagles. Like, you're picking probably the worst time to play the Rifle. They are really, really hot. I mean, Rodgers 9-1 against the Bears. I saw in the last 10 starts. He has great numbers.
Yep.
I just looking. You got some decent matchups. So I don't know. I'm worried for the Eagles, and of course, they once again are throwing Miles Sanders in, as that alone tells me the Eagles are not that concerned about this game at all. They just give up.
So I picked up Gainwell, the backup in Philly. I've been waiting for mild soreness to go out, but he won't. And it's not when he's playing, he does not look bad, but they don't put the ball in his hands. I don't know what that guy, that coach is thinking down in Philly right now. I simply don't.
I agree with that. Sanders looks good when he does,
plays,
but they give him nothing.
10 touches a game.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I worry for Jordan on that one. That's probably not great.
Tommy, we don't want to root for opposing teams too much, but while the Rifle has been resurgent and the Soaring Eagles are tough luck, if you have a team that you can roll out Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, and DeAndre Hopkins every week, do you expect to be 1-4 after 5 games?
Not at all. But I mean, again, look at the running backs. I mean, Miles Sanders he's
got
bad.
Here's why you won't win. When you have, let's see, 1 New York Giant in your lineup, you got 2 New York Giants in your lineup, and then you toss in Zach Ertz. I think there's a good formula for not winning.
Yeah, I mean, look at Zach Ertz last week, 1 reception, 1 point.
Yeah.
I mean,
that rookie looks good. I can't remember his Tony there. What's his first name? Kadarius.
Yeah.
He looks really good.
Yeah, I thought he might get suspended this week for his idiocy, but he doesn't look like he's gonna. He's gonna get fined and he'll play.
Yep.
So he's pretty much what they have left. He's an electric talent. It depends on who's going to throw him the ball. Well, they say Daniel Jones may be back. It's looking like he's going to play. I don't know what a great idea that is.
I'm amazed by that because when the man couldn't even walk off.
That was terrible. And I'll say this. Where's the camera again? Tony, yes, Daniel Jones did go off in a cart because he couldn't walk. So I see what point you made on the text string. I get it. No, not the same.
No, not at all.
Not the same. Let's look at my game. No lineup needed. Just ended the 4-game winning streak of Born to Run, and now they come into Knuckleheads land, and so it sure seems like they're primed to go 180 this week. Austin Eckler is suddenly surging. Walt, how do you see this matchup going? Is this another week where Austin Eckler goes over 20 points and leads no lineup needed to a win?
Yeah, I think Eckler is, you guys talked about it before. He might end up being the most, I guess, we all thought he was going to be good, but where he got picked and he's performing like 2 years ago towards the end. And so he's unbelievable. The thing I don't like is the Kirk Cousins against the Panthers.
No.
Panthers D's tough.
They are.
Cousins, so I think the Knuckleheads, unless Murray, like I said, I don't know if he had an injury or whatever. To me, that gives you a pretty big advantage there. DK seems like he's coming around. CeeDee Lamb against Kelsey. I like your chances. You'll probably prove me wrong somehow, but
I'm good at proving people wrong. Yeah. When things look good, they are not gonna go good. No.
But it looks good for you.
Yeah, we'll see. I just feel like I'm gonna have a good week because I had a good week last week.
Yep.
I had good weeks 3 weeks. It doesn't matter. Again,
they'll still find a way to put up 100.
I'm trying to be a good co-host, and I'm not losing my mind yet, but it's coming. It's coming. So no lineup. If no lineup needed wins, again, this is a sneaky team. I believe that Austin Eckler is going to end the year as a top 5 back.
Oh, definitely.
And this team that they started off with the loss, and now they're coming on strong. So we'll see. Let's talk about what I'm looking at as the game of the week. Civil War game. Born to Run at 4-1 in second place takes on Sody Pantloads at 4-1, sitting in first place. Walt, I'm going to start with you. This is always a contentious matchup.
It is.
I expect for the text wire to be blowing up. The train seems to think that this is going to be a good game as well. Tell me what you think the outcome of this one against Odie Pantlows is going to be.
I'm going to say this. It comes down to one thing, and if Christian McCaffrey plays, I feel I will pull it out. If McCaffrey doesn't play, I got some trouble at running back because of injuries. So, I don't even know if Damian Harris is going to play. Edmonds was banged up. So, if you give me McCaffrey in there versus either one of those two, I'm feeling pretty good, especially Jefferson with the Panthers. I just don't think he's going to have that double-digit day like he's had before. And, Kyle's riding the Darrell Henderson train, which I think is a bit of an anomaly myself. But, hey, who knows? I could be wrong. But, the one thing that worries me, of course, is Lamar Jackson. He's capable of putting 40, 50 points up a week.
And a half.
Yeah.
He'll go into the halftime with 7 points and he'll end the game with 37. It's crazy.
And then Pat Mahomes, however, is starting to look now like, I don't know what's going on with him. He does not look good.
Yeah, let's talk about Kansas City as a whole, because the Kansas City offense, that is where you were making your money this year. You were going to draft Pat Mahomes. You were going to draft Travis Kelce. You were going to have Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill has started to pay off, and the rifle is seeing that dividend. But the ancillary players on that lineup, Edwards-Hilaire, who's the other wide receiver, Mecole Hardman.
Oh yeah,
these guys aren't doing really anything.
No,
and the offense seems to stall more than not. Tommy, a concern moving forward for Kansas City?
I think they're gonna figure it out. I think Pat Mahomes is unbelievable. Travis Kelce, I think that offense is gonna end up getting going. Maybe Mahomes is still, obviously he's coming off surgery after last Super Bowl or whatever. I think they're gonna get going eventually, but it might be a couple weeks. So.
All right. This is again, a lot of good games coming into this week. We've had some great BARFF matchups over the last few
definitely.
weeks. It has been fun, even while there's some crying that goes on at BARFF HQ, but even with that, it's fun, these games, and there's a lot of them are coming down to the last minute, the last game, and all that. So it's been a great year so far.
And I'd rather lose to the Pantlows now. Like, it's really not going to bother. Well, don't get me wrong. It'll still annoy me. But
better to lose now than later.
That's right, though. It hurts a little now, but it really, really hurts, especially to him come playoff time.
And it's an acceptable
exactly.
Loss,
Exactly.
Doesn't play.
So a lot of excitement coming up this week in BARFF. We've got some teams looking to separate up at the top. We'll see. We could have one 5-1 team. We could have two 5-1 teams. It's going to be interesting to see. Looking forward to a great week in BARFF. Looking forward to no lineup needed, cracking the 200-point barrier against the Knuckleheads. It'll be great for everyone else except for me to watch. But it's been great. Tommy, it's been great to have you on tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys. It feels good to be here in person. Last year was just calling. It feels good to actually be here.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, it is. It's great having you guys, seeing you guys again.
And we're under the stars. You guys
know.
might not be able to tell that on the camera, but we are under the stars at BARFF HQ tonight. You might have heard the train a little earlier, and you might be hearing the crickets. But we're doing a little exterior shoot tonight, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Walt, it's great to have you back in the studio.
It's great being here. And
scouting.
Again, my hat's off to the Rifle for filling in. They did an awesome job, so thank you for that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we're hoping to have the Rifle back again. I offered him to do the Blitz with Tommy, but he said he can't follow up such a great performance so soon.
Yeah, I don't know why I thanked the Rifle, because he hasn't watched a podcast yet. So, if anyone sees him, just tell him I said thanks.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's binge watching right now, but I feel as though no, I don't think that he is. And that is our show for the night. I'm the commish. Thanks to everyone. Walt, it's been great to have you back.
Yep, thanks.
All right,
Thanks, Tommy.
Have a good night.
Guys. Go Sox.
All right.
Go Sox. Yeah.
Good luck to all. Have a good night.